That little ember inside him even dared to hope it might be good news. Movements ahead drew his notice. Footsteps approached through the misty air, and a moment later, two elderly ladies emerged. The tall one in front wore a gown with enormous sleeves that made it impossible for her companion to do anything but trail behind. "Good morning, ladies." He doffed his hat and offered them the hint of a smile. The taller of the two possessed a cool, untouchable elegance, and the way her chin jutted toward the sky told him she was likely titled or wealthy or both. "Can you tell me if I'm heading in the direction for Selfridge Place?" "You are, sir," the diminutive one told him. "You've saved a lost man. Thank you." He winked at the one who'd been helpful. "So charming," she whispered to her companion as they passed. Thank God he still had his charm. Affability and a wink hadn't saved him from financial ruin, but they might yet open a few more doors. Instincts had only been half his success. Reading others, gaining the trust of business associates, he'd been skilled in those ways too. 5 minutes later, he'd passed the neighborhood of whitewashed houses and entered an area of red brick buildings. He stopped in front of an unassuming one on Selfridge Place and checked the address on the letter again. A lamp lit in a ground-floor window gave the air outside a sickly yellow cast. He might call it a bad omen if James believed in such balderdash. The front door was unlocked, so James stepped warily inside. A man called out soon after. "In here, Mr. Pembroke." The sound of a chair scratching wood, and then rapid footsteps came before a stout, balding man appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Cathcart?" "Indeed. And you're right on time, Mr. Pembroke. I do admire punctuality." "Then we're off to a good start." James tried for that easy, jovial manner he'd used in the past when meeting new business prospects. Smiling generally encouraged others to do the same. Not so with Mr. Mortimer Cathcart, Esquire. The man dipped his nose, examined James above the frame of his spectacles, and then ducked back into his office like a mole retreating into his burrow. "Do sit, sir. I deduce from your manner that what I have to tell you may come as a shock." Well, damn. Apparently, it was to be bad news. James didn't need intuition to interpret the grim set of the man's mouth and the way his eyes darted to and fro. Unbidden, a rusty chuckle bubbled up, a sound of exhaustion. So much for his string of bad luck taking a turn today. But he was prepared. He could take it. What could be worse than losing the shipping fleet you'd spent years assembling? Cathcart gestured toward a spindly chair in front of his desk. A spark of rebellion flared up in James. He was tempted to insist on standing while the man delivered the blow. But it wasn't the solicitor's fault he'd been tasked with bearing ill news. Indeed, he looked rather morose about whatever he was about to impart. "Don't mind if I do," James said congenially, trying to fold his tall, broad limbs into the too small chair. "Thank you." 5 minutes later, he was bloody glad he was seated on his arse, because nothing could have prepared him for the words that had come out of the solicitor's mouth. "Repeat yourself, Cathcart," he barked. "Slowly." The older man's spectacles bounced along with his overgrown brows. He cleared his throat, glanced down at the documents on his desk, and then turned nervous eyes on James. "You, sir, are Lord Rossbury's heir. Your uncle sired no sons, and his brother, your father, died years ago. As of course you know." The man cleared his throat. "Yes, thank you, Cathcart." He did know when his father died, and his mother, and he kept that day and those memories firmly shut away. But he'd never forget how his uncle had offered him no home, no aid, not even an ounce of consolation. "My condolences are yours, as is the Earldom of Rossbury, as of 3 days ago, when your uncle—" James didn't hear the rest of what the solicitor said, or rather, the sharply accented words faded as an emotion took hold of every atom.